started doing the research, 8 National Coach of the Year titles. Olympic gold medal in 2000 as the assistant coach, over 500 wins at Purdue. And what was more impressive than that, one of the things we try to do in our clinic is get people who can make a difference at their level. And Todd Foster was a good friend of mine for many years when I was at St. Joe and at Valpo here. And I always thought, man, Foster, he shouldn't have been a Big Ten player. He didn't look like a Big Ten player. But he was the perfect type of player for Coach Keady because he built such a good system. He developed, he took these tough kids and did great things with them as a team. So I'm really anxious to hear what he has. His first session, he's going to be talking about all the things he's learned over his lifetime of coaching. And I think when you're out for a couple of years, now he has a chance to have a fresh mind and maybe add some insight for us all. And then the second time, he'll use the Indiana Wesleyan players as demonstrators for his second speech. So without further ado, Dean Keady.
It's great to be here. I had a great deal of fun coaching for 48 years. Probably do appreciate what ended up more than a lot of coaches now, because a lot of them start out as young assistants and don't really have to go the hard route. So hopefully I give you some things here that would help you. If you get one, when I went to clinics, if I could get one thing that would help me in my season, I was always very much appreciative. And also I want to use the last part of my talk for questions. If you want to ask questions, I like to do that. I was very lucky in that I was an all-around athlete and I got to be involved in all sports. I think that really helped me with my coaching. Probably football brought me to see that toughness is really important in surviving. Basketball now has really become a long session. And then track taught me how to run right, how to teach running right, which is very important in basketball. And of course I love basketball because I grew up in Kansas, and that's like Indiana. It's a sport that when you get to state tournament time, everybody is fired up, and if your team gets to go to the state tournament, it's really special. And then baseball probably taught me about the stats, and I was kind of a numbers man. So I always tried to play the percentages in certain situations. So because of my ability to be able to be involved in 4 different sports, I probably picked up something from each one of those sports to help me coach basketball. Didn't know I was going to be a basketball coach, but it just kind of evolved that way, and turned out to be where I was pretty darn lucky. So I started out as a young coach in 1958. I came home from the Steelers. My knee went out for the 4th time, so I came home and started looking for a job, and I got a high school job in Beloit, Kansas when I was 22 years old, and the only job open at that school was a basketball job, and head basketball, assistant football, assistant track coach, and head golf coach, which I knew nothing about golf and couldn't hardly hold the club right. Had to teach psychology, econ, general science, 2 study halls, and 2 phys ed classes. Had all those responsibilities for 4,200. So at Christmas that year, my first year, we had a special faculty meeting, and they gave us a $100 bonus, and all the people who had been there for a couple of years were going nuts. I thought, what the heck, they're crazy to get $100. That's not, it was, you know, $100 in those days is quite a bit, but it's like, that's not much of a bonus. Well, that was the last bonus I got in coaching until 1976, and we won the Southwest Conference at Arkansas, so I had a better understanding of how bonuses are kind of rare in teaching. And from that experience, 7 years in high school, it taught me about parents, how to teach properly, because coaching's about teaching. Supported all the other plays and the band, the concerts. I would go to all those and support everybody else in the school. There's a school of about 400, about 100 kids in each class, so it was a great experience for me because I'm trying to become a better basketball coach and really didn't have any idea what kind of defense I was going to play my first year because I didn't know anything about it. I knew how to make out lesson plans. They taught to us at Kansas State. I knew how to do those type of teaching things, but knew nothing about defense. I got a 3-2 offense with a double post because we had 2 6'4" kids at low post and kind of messed with that a little bit. Had watched K-State play in those days because they were really good. They went to the Final Four in '57, and it kind of gets in your blood, you know, the basketball part. You get excited about it. I saw Oscar Robinson came to Manhattan and played, and he was at Cincinnati, so I got to see him play. He'd play guard a little bit and get 10 points, and he'd play center for get 10 more points, and he'd play forward a little bit and get 10 more points. So he was an amazing guy to watch. Coach Wooden brought UCLA to Ahern Fieldhouse. I got to see UCLA play in their power days in Manhattan, and then of course Chamberlain was at Kansas. So all these things you start learning from it. I played on a K-State baseball team, and one of the players on the baseball team was a basketball player. So when we would go on road trips in baseball, I'd talk basketball with Roy DeWitt was his name, and that kind of got me thinking about coaching basketball. So because of my high school experience as a teacher, learning how to get along with the parents and have good discipline and be able to communicate with everybody in the school was really good for me. I had a great principal, had a great superintendent, so it always helps when you've got administrators that are backing you. And it was just a fun time. And we went to state tournament 3 times out of 7 years there, so that was always special. So all those guys who now still call me, a lot of my ex-players, and we get together once in a while, and they might come if I was coach at Toronto a couple years ago, so they'd come to we played Oklahoma City, so they'd drive down for that. So I got to see them. So I said, how old are you guys? And they said 60. I said, you can't be that old. You're getting to be old. So it was like, you know, it doesn't seem like that could happen, but those 7 years went very fast. When I was at Garden City Junior College playing, there was a high school coach there by the name of Sam Butterfield, and he coached the high school at Garden City, and the junior college and the high school had to share the same gym. So they would practice like from 1 to 3, and we'd come in at 3 to 5, and I got to know him, and through that relationship, we became very good friends, and he told me that if I'd ever get my degree and move on, he'd like to maybe have me be his assistant someday. This was before I ever thought about coaching basketball. So lo and behold, when I was at Beloit for 3 years, I decided that I needed to get my master's so I could move out of here. I needed to get to a junior college or a college job. So I go to K-State for 3 summers, get my master's, and also at that time I was lucky because Tex Winter was writing his triple post book. So I got to hear him for 3 summers talk about the triple post. And what's fantastic about Tex is he's really good on fundamentals, passing and proper shooting. He was really good at the fast break, and shooting was something I took a special interest in because of the way he taught it and that sort of thing. So it became kind of a evolving situation where I get my master's, and I was at Beloit 7 years, and we had pretty good success there, so I had a pretty good name in the state. And by the way, I tried to get some football jobs, but nobody would hire me. So I tried to get out of basketball, but not that I didn't like it, it's just I thought maybe I'd be a better fit as a football coach, but nobody would hire me, so I got my master's, and lo and behold, Sam Butterfield now goes to Hutchinson Junior College. He takes over there, and he used to come up to Beloit on career days and talk, and then we'd visit. He says, now if you finish your master's, I want you to come to Hutch and be my assistant for a year, then I'm going to become the AD and you take over as a head coach. Now, I don't know if you know about Hutchinson or not, but they have the National Junior College Tournament there every year. They seat about 8,000 people at their games, and it's a pretty good job. For me it was. But I had to teach. Well, lo and behold, they hire me, so I become, as I go to Hutch, I have to teach 25 hours of biology a week, and I had to be assistant football coach, defensive back coach, too. So that was all for $6,500. So it's like, here I've been coaching 7 years, and I've gone from $4,200 to $6,500. It doesn't seem right that I'm not making much progress financially. But still, through those experiences as a high school coach, and as a high school coach, I really wanted to be up-tempo. At Beloit, if we didn't score 100 points, I was ticked off. Knew nothing about defense, so usually if we got beat at the state tournament, it was because there was a better defensive team. So 100 points was our goal. Really didn't have any singular goals as a high school coach, but we had really good kids that were together. They had great families, and I had a couple of rules that you couldn't get away with now. If you didn't go out for either football or track, you couldn't come out for basketball. We know that wouldn't fly now. So you had to go out for football or track to become a basketball player. And if you didn't have a goal on your outdoor garage, and I drove by your house, you couldn't come out. So you had to have a basketball goal in your garage, or you couldn't come out. So we had Fellowship of Christian Athletes every Monday, and if you didn't come to that, you couldn't come out. Now that would really blow up my face now, I know that. So those are things that have changed over the years, and tremendous amount of togetherness and spirit, and the community kind of gels together, and you have that type of situation. So that was a great experience for me to be a high school coach for 7 years, and then to go to Hutchinson Junior College was great. Went there in 1965 as Sam's assistant. We got third in the nation. Sam was a great motivator, recruiter. He taught me a lot about recruiting. He taught me about defensive, man-to-man defense, and then how to work with the post people. He probably taught me more about how to coach postmen than any other coach I was ever around. So that was a good experience, and the junior college experience was great because we went to the national 6 out of 9 years. So I keep making progress as a coach, I think, if you count win and loss records. So and all of us know that some of the best coaches in the world never get much recognition, because coaching is about teaching, and it's about treating people right and being enthusiastic about what you're doing, and so on. So that becomes a area of frustration, because we're winning pretty big. We're averaging like 28 wins a year, and I'm not getting any Division I offers, which in those days, if you remember, Cotton Fitzsimmons went from Moberly to K-State, and some other coaches had moved on from junior college to Division I. I wasn't getting the smell. But Eddie Sutton had just taken over Arkansas as he moved from Creighton down to Arkansas, and he was recruiting one of my players at Hutch. I got to know Eddie, and lo and behold, he had an assistant job open, and I applied for it, and I got it in the summer of '74. So I became an assistant coach for Division I school in 1974, and the thing about that was a great opportunity to learn about defense. Two things he taught me the most was about team defense, man-to-man, and shot selection. Because in junior college and high school, we were always trying to score 100 points. You know, we wanted to be an offensive. We had all the red, we had whatever our school color was. We had that color ball to warm up with, and we really thought we were half globetrotters, trying to be fancy offensively and all that stuff. So it was 16 years of coaching, and one of the things that I hope you all are taking care of is your retirement plan, because when I went from Kansas to Arkansas, I had $8,000 in retirement fund. So at 16 years of coaching, I had $8,000. That's going to get you a long ways in retirement. So I hope you all have a better retirement plan than what we had as I went from high school, junior college into Arkansas. I went there 4 years. We went to the Final Four in '78, and I had a tremendous amount of fun and great experience with Coach Sutton at Arkansas. And as you know, the Hogs are nutty fans, and they're very much behind their teams and have a great deal of enthusiasm. And in 1978 with Sidney Moncrief and those kids, we go to the Final Four in St. Louis, and Kentucky beat us in the first game, and then that when they played for third place, and we beat Notre Dame in overtime for third. So because of that experience and because of that success, I got a chance to interview for the Western Kentucky job in 1978, and went to Western Kentucky in Bowling Green for 2 years, and we won the league there with the NCAA once, and got second the other year, so we had pretty good success at Western. And in the summer of '79, I had the opportunity to coach the South Squad for the Sports Festival, which is an Olympic development program for young athletes. In those days, we all had college kids playing in the Olympics, so they had the South, North, East, and West teams of the best players in the nation playing, James Worthy, people like that. So I got to coach the South Squad, and we won the gold medal because we had some great players, and it happened to be at that time Fred Schaus, who was assistant AD at Purdue, had watched me coach the South Squad, and we went 4-0 and won the gold medal, and he came back and told George King after Lee Rose quit and went to Charlotte, went to South Florida, that he thinks he knew what coach they needed to hire, and that's how I got involved with Purdue, through the Olympic Committee member Fred Schaus said that we should hire Coach Keady from Western Kentucky in 1980. I went there. But because of all this, you don't see that much anymore. Like Coach said a while ago, you go high school, you go junior college, you're learning all the way now about different aspects of offense. You're learning new drills from going to clinics. You're watching coaches be successful through the nation. Wasn't much TV then, but you still once in a while got to watch some TV, especially during NCAA time. And then I got to be an assistant coach, and that was good for me because that way I could respect my assistants a lot more, because I know what they go through. They do all the work, they don't get much credit, and that was good for me. And then to get a Division I job at a lower Division I type thing to break in easy was pretty lucky for me at Western. Then to come to Purdue in the Big Ten was unbelievable, because you go from a high school job and end up being at a Big Ten school. And of course, a lot of people thought I was nuts because they didn't know why you'd want to play against Knight. And Al McGuire told me I was crazy if I went there. But I took the chance, and we had a lot of fun games and great games, and were able to have had a great rivalry with Indiana. And because you never knew what Bobby was going to pull next, it was interesting. At the time you were playing, you didn't think it was fun because you were scared to death he was going to kick your behind in the game, and you became kind of paranoid about it, because once then we started beating a little bit, then became a little more we became a little more confident what we're doing. But throughout of all these experiences, the things that you collect that helped me were, for instance, goal setting was something that I didn't do a lot of those first years, or trying to get your players to work on goals. We always had our seniors at Purdue, their senior year, would make the top 10 things they wanted to do this coming year, and they'd write them down, and we'd put them on a big black poster board with gold printing, and it'd be stuff like win the Big Ten, have a qualify for the NCAA, so on. The 10 usually lead the league in rebounding and stuff like that. So that was always up in the locker room, so you could see it all the time. And that's when we kind of got started on goal setting, where people could visually see it. And it was important that I think that we had those that kind of motivate us. And then I, defensively, offensively, and rebounding wise over the years, we had these goals. We had this on a board, so each game you could see what we did. And defensively, we had like 6 goals. Force opponents to 20 turnovers was the first one. Second one, hold them to 44% field goal percentage wise, or you can make that whatever you want it to be. You thought it could be 42 or 40. you can make these whatever you want as far as the numbers here, but they were goals that you kind of keep your team intact with. Third one is to hold your opponents to 60 points. Fourth one on defense was have 7 fouls at halftime. That way they never got into, into 1-on-1 very quick. So that was always a big one, not to get in foul trouble or have too many, out of the team to get too many free throws. This goal was added because it just came in later. Hold three-point shooting to 30%. And then last one under defense was have an X number of deflections. I don't know, for high school, maybe you want to have a lower number, like 12 deflections, or maybe 8, 10 deflections at half, and so on. So trying to get a hand on the ball on defense, that sort of thing was, I think, something we try to keep track of. So those are our 6 goals on defense over the years that we kind of got some idea what we thought we could win with in a big way. Then offensively, we had 6 goals, only 10 turnovers, 5 each half or thereabouts, and shoot 50%, which is pretty hard to do. Free throws 75% was a goal. It was our 3rd goal. And then this next one was kind of weird, but it worked. Don't know why, but it did. 4th goal on offense was to score the first basket, and the last basket of the first half, and the first basket of the second half. In order to get to that goal, we had to get 2 out of the 3, and it was amazing. If we did 2 out of 3 of those 3 things, we'd win the game. Scored first, so you get started right. Score the last basket and go in before halftime. It's been amazing over the years how that one works. How important that is to come out and score the first basket second half. But it just worked. It's kind of like marrying an introvert and extrovert. They stay married for 50 years. Who knows why? It just worked. But that one was a good goal for us because it worked out. 5th goal on offense was make 35% of our 3-point shots. Hopefully you had a good enough team you'd be up in the 40s, but sometimes we're not that lucky. And to shoot 25 free throws for the game was our 6th goal on offense. Our rebounding goal was to get 58% of the rebounds, and that was something you probably want to adjust according to what your style of play is. But we didn't play like I did my first 16 years in coaching, where it was wide open, scoring a lot of points. We kind of screwed it down a little bit because we didn't have as much talent as a lot of people, so we tried to really be tough on E and do a good job on the boards and rebound and take good shots. So rebounding was a big goal for us, 58%. But it's also amazing how rebounding does not necessarily mean you're going to win. That's one thing that probably field goal percentage is more important at both teams. Number of free throws is more important. And if your best players can stay in the game, get in foul trouble. So those are kind of some goals over the years that I developed through those 48 years of coaching, and I used those goals mostly when I started at Purdue. And it was something that I didn't think that hurt us, because if you had, say you had 18 turnovers in a game, we probably ought to work on ball handling, judgment, and passing. Why we're not getting our offense going right? Why are we turning it over careless? Of course, you watch a lot of film when I first started scouting, and it became tape. But it was a good way to work on your whatever you thought. If you were shooting 40%, you probably are taking too many quick shots and too many bad shots. Or if you're not getting enough free throws, you're only getting 13, 14 free throws a game. It means you're not doing the things it takes to get to the line, like dribble penetration, that sort of thing. So those are goals for us that were important to us, and it kind of guided it. So we kept track of each one of those games on a big board, so you could go down each game and see are we getting better at field goal percentage? Are we turning the ball over less? Are we out rebounding our opponents more than they're out rebounding us? And so you could kind of check the eventual procedure of the season, how it was going with. And that's probably the baseball part of our mentality and stats. Maybe that's a little too complicated, but it worked for us. As I got into coaching over the years, I talked a lot about reaching the magic level, trying to get to that upper level, the upper echelon of success by doing things smart, playing hard, playing smart, playing unselfish, and becoming a family, a team. And that was something we always emphasized was we're a family, we're a team. Everybody has to be on the same page. And it was something that motivation and discipline were two words we used a lot. Motivation to me is two things: honesty and enthusiasm. If you're enthusiastic as a coach, I think the players realize that, and if you're honest with them, they can trust you. They'll probably do about anything for you as far as playing hard. Because basically, I wasn't an offensive coach, I wasn't a defensive coach, I wasn't a fast break coach. I was probably a play hard coach. I got my players hopefully to play hard. That's why I would think leave my legacy. If I could get people to say that we play hard, that would be a nice compliment. Found out too that basketball is a lot like golf. Usually it's not as bad as you think it is, but it's also not as good as you think it is, each shot or each part of basketball. Because you can really get high if you're winning a lot, and you really get low if you're losing, and you can't let that happen. You got to stay on the even keel and keep your players at even keel where they believe they can win on the road by taking good shots, playing hard on defense, and sharing the ball and being unselfish. So probably expect the unexpected is one of our mottos at times during the season. Don't bitch about the bus, the food, the hotels. Just be happy that you're on a team that's got some chance to do something special. And rebounding is everything, because if you don't get the ball, you're not going to be able to get an out of the pass for a fast break. You're not going to get any putbacks on offense. So rebounding, even though I said a while ago it's not probably the big key to winning, it's still very, very important, and was something we worked at awfully hard at each day in practice. I also found out in life that we all have four things in common. Number one, competition. This country was built on competition. Everything is about competition. So most of our drills on defense and offense, fast break drills and so on, which I'm going to demonstrate the last hour, everything was a competitive situation. Whether we played shell drill, it was always about competition. These top 7 players trying to beat the other 7 players. Gold against black, or whatever our jerseys were. It was always about competing hard in practice. And our practices were always about 3 hours long, but we did it with a flow of, not wearing them out, but a flow of hour on defense, hour on offense, and hour on special parts of the game, and we'd have water breaks after every competitive drill, that sort of thing. So you got a good flow of practice, and you're not just killing them, but you're also making them tough, because they're going 3 hours and running hard and working hard on defense and talking and doing those things that created enthusiasm. So I found out golf is basketball a lot like life. You expect the unexpected. We're always trying to figure out in this game of basketball how we can do a better job at teaching them the offense, or how can we become better at teaching defense, and how important it is to have a great defensive team in order to win on the road. So competition is the first thing. Really is how. That's kind of the how of what we're going to do, which I want to get to here in a minute. Second thing is we all have time in common. What you do with your time. So many people waste their lives by wasting time. Being on time, using your time intelligently in practice sessions, having, I can always tell you usually about whether a kid's going to be successful when he graduates or not by how he respected the time element. Because in our system, if you were late, you're going to run. If you were late to practice, you had to run Mackey 100 times. Up and down as once to the top. Took about 2 hours. So we didn't have many late guys very often. A few knotheads who didn't figure it out, but most of them had it figured out. They were on time, they didn't have to run. Which after a while I found out that coaches were using that against us, because they say, if you go to Purdue, Coach K's going to make you run the stairs 100 times if you're late. You know, all the weak sisters, they would, or brothers, would let that influence how whether they were going to come to Purdue as a recruiting tool. Third thing we all have in common is discouragement. Doing things right will help you overcome discouragement, playing the game right, becoming positive about how you feel. There's always going to be discouragement in every day's life for most of us at some level. And the fourth thing we all have in common is problems. And I found out that problems can be solved by setting goals, having faith, that usually those things can be solved pretty quick. Because I found out in the last few years of my coaching, I was telling the coaches we were eating, the thing that I saw change the most in the last 5 years of my coaching career was the parents. Because they didn't teach their children to listen. They didn't teach them to have responsibility. And they didn't teach them to think for themselves. And if you can get your recruits or high school kids or whatever level you're coaching to listen and have a responsible attitude and think for themselves where other people aren't influencing them in a negative way, that they got a chance to be a fun team to coach. So those are the four things we all have in common: competition, time, discouragement, and problems. I think the time part is the what. The competition part is the how. The discouragement part is doing it right. And the problems is having goals in mind to kind of get you through the problem area and solve it with the ability to think for yourself. I think the main thing that I found also is through the parents thought because they were going to play in the Big Ten, they're all NBA players, and we all know that only 1% of the seniors are going to get drafted. Just the seniors, not even counting the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, that they're not going to be NBA players. They need to get the degree, and they need to treat people right, and they need to understand if you treat people right, they're going to treat you right, and if you have a good reputation at Purdue or wherever you play, you're going to be able to go out in life, and people probably will hire you and have you part of their company or corporation and so on. So your future depends on many things, but mostly on you. If you're a failure, it's your fault. If you're a success, it's your fault. It's not your grandparents' fault because they didn't give you good DNA, or it's not your coach's fault because they didn't play you right, or she, and it's not your teammates' fault because they didn't give the ball to you. It's your fault because you've got to figure out how to make things right. I found out too that overachievers are an absolute necessity. Trying to get people to overachieve. Because I think that most people use about 16% of their abilities. They never really get close to capping off their abilities they have. They waste. You've probably seen this in a lot of the different professions. How they could have been good in music, but they didn't really practice right. They could have been good in drama, but they didn't really work at acting right. They could have been a lot better in basketball if they'd worked on their free throws a few more hours. Or they had a lot of skills. They could run and they could jump. We had a kid at Purdue, and I'm not going to give you his name because you know who he is, who had he could press the most weights. He had the bench press record, the 6'10", and he had the best mile time, but couldn't get a daggum rebound. So you know, figure it out. What's going on there? You know, well, I'm sure the parents would say it's my fault because I didn't motivate him, but you know, if you're that strong and you can run like a deer, you got to be able to get a rebound. Go get the ball. And that was some of the things that you go through, because there's a lot of people you've seen have great talent that don't get much done because either they're lazy or they want somebody else to do it for them, and they don't want to be aggressive enough. So, where am I, Coach, on time? Okay. So I found out too that ability is what you're capable of doing. Ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do by needs, love, and ambition. And the attitude determines how well you do it. And to me, attitude is everything. You got a positive attitude, you got a chance to have a lot of fun in life. Because people are going to enjoy being around you, and they're going to want to be around you, and you're fun. I saw a deal. I'm always getting these email stuff. I'm learning how to run my computer now because when I retired, the people, our housekeeper, people that work for my wife, she thought money grew on trees, so she had a lot of people working for us. Bought me a computer when I retired, so I'm learning how to do all that stuff. It's been fun. And I saw one the other day, it's pretty good on there, that said, don't allow yourself to get around grumpy people. And, you know, that's pretty good. You want to be around happy people. You want to be around people that enjoy life, enjoy each other. And I think that a lot of times could be accomplished with a coach. It's that way, too. Sometimes I was considered grumpy by the look on my face, but that's not how I felt. Dedication, discipline, and defense. Those are the 3 Ds. We live by those a lot in my last 25 years of coaching. Dedication, discipline, and defense. When I recruited, we always try to use the word ideal as our model for recruiting. I stood for intelligence, because you wanted people with common sense. D stood for dedication. You wanted people that loved to play. I never liked guys that didn't like to play. I liked guys that wanted to play 3-on-3, 4-on-4 when nobody was watching. They're the ones that usually enjoyed playing. So dedication was always important, and the model ideal. E stood for enthusiasm. Energy, enthusiasm, having fun. The A stood for ability, because you got to have some ability to play at the Big Ten level. So you better be able to do something. Either be able to be big, so you get rebounds and post up and use your post up skills. You better be quick, or you better be a good shooter. So if you can either shoot it, or if you're big, or if you're quick, you probably got a chance to play at Purdue, because we'll find a place for you with your quickness, or your bigness, or your shooting ability. So the dedication part was always kind of amazing to me why people didn't love to play it, because I loved coaching 48 years. I was lucky I got to coach at all levels, and because of those experiences, I hope they helped me make some success at Purdue. Discipline, discipline is something that's a word that a lot of people think is a bad word, because it sounds like you're mean to them, or you make them punish them. Discipline is not that. It means you play hard. That's what it means to me. You have discipline, you'll play hard. And I think that's something that's kind of misinterpreted sometimes. Defense really is determination, aggressiveness, conditioning, and pride. If you have pride in your defense, you can learn a good technique on stands. We worked hard on that. How to deny the wings, how to play post defense, how to get back on defense and fight out to the ball. All those things, we had drills that were competitive usually, that we would become a pretty good defensive team over the years. So I gave you those 4 things about we all have in common, the what and the how and the doing it right, doing goals, which I said was time, competition, and encouragement, and discouragement, and problems. So that I would take the what and put under it. So what am I talking about when I'm talking about time? What? Well, togetherness, conditioning, fundamentals, trying to have a flexible offense, trying to have a pressure defense, a fast break system. Don't let your teammates down by embarrassing them, by getting drunk and getting a fight at a bar. How dumb can you be? That's so stupid, I can't believe it now. How many professional athletes do that now? It's just amazing. They can make $5 million a year, but can't afford a limo to take them out at night. No, they want to drive and get caught. Let your tag expire, have your license expire, and you have a marijuana cigarette in your ashtray. It says, I don't know who that is. Now that guy is not smart enough to play for me, but he's playing professional. And then the last one is have fun with a sense of humor. There's always a place for a sense of humor when you're trying to get the kids loose. So it's good to crack a good joke. We had a doctor in our team. Dr. Holmes was great at that because he would come into the dressing room and tell the kids a joke and get them loosened up at a tight game. Say we're at Michigan playing the Fab Five, or we were going down to Indiana where you get kind of tight. And he would come in and tell a joke, and he was really great because he would have a sense of humor with trying to get people loose. And then I took how. The how part was which I already talked about: discipline, dedication, defense, and the word ideal in recruiting. But what about just working hard? Work hard. That's pretty simple. And I don't think that unless your parents make you work hard when you're younger that you really know how to do that. I think you know how to do that maybe if you go out for track is good for you. If you haven't how many of you run a 400 meters? If you haven't run a 400 meters, you haven't lived. Because that's a great race to get the old washers cutting in here about the 350-yard marker. So track is great for teaching people how to work hard. Get good people around you. That's really a key. You're only as good as your assistants. Having faith in God. There's got to be a God, because we wouldn't have all this around us if he wasn't for something special. I think a tough schedule is important if you have an older team. If you have a younger team, you want to have a little more of a cupcake schedule, because you like to be able to win a couple. But if you're losing every one of them, that kind of destroys the confidence of young people. Good officials. You know, officiating is very hard in basketball because it's going so fast. We all get on them. I get a lot of technicals. And good officials are essential if we're going to have a great game. Of course, great recruiting, that's the key to being successful now in college. Any level is the recruiting part. And without recruiting, have a salesmanship type of an attitude, you're not going to get good players. You've got to be able to sell them the fact you've got a great place to get a degree, you got a very good league, you got a good schedule, you've got good kids to play with, and you're going to teach them how to play the game right. And then your coaching ability comes into the how. Then be doing it right. I think under that part, do it right, about discouragement part, being honest, be on time, be responsible, be a happy warrior. I like guys or girls who are happy warriors. I never coached women too much, but I had my daughter's softball team in the 5th grade. That was one of my greatest experiences. Because the first day of practice, I played baseball until I was 35. In Kansas, everybody has what they call a town team, so all the old guys still trying to prove they should be in the majors. We weren't worth a damn, but we had fun. So I'm coaching this 5th grade softball team with my daughter on it, and I'm making them, run the bases right, hit the inside of the bag, run around second, hit the inside of the bag, go third, hit the inside, slide it home. And I'd have infield practice and hit fly balls to the outfielders and work on pitching the right way and catching and so on, and having signals and all that. And about 3/4 of the way through the practice, all of them are crying. I said, "What the hell are you crying about?" And my daughter says, "Dad, we're girls." I said, "So? We're going to have a fun team here this summer." And it turned out to be they were really fun to coach, because you know what? I think girls are smarter than boys because they listen. They're easier to coach. And it was a fun 2 years for me. And that was a good experience. So then be mentally tough. I'm not sure how you coach that, but it's good to find recruits that have it. And be coachable. That means they listen. And be highly motivated. I'm not sure you can control that because that sometimes comes with the territory of how they were brought up. And then the fourth part I want to talk about here with having four things in common is goals in mind. Get a degree. That's number one. Get a degree. If you're not going to get a degree, you're going to earn $5 an hour for the rest of your life. If you get a degree, you got a chance to drive a Mercedes, or get a nice home, or move up in the corporate world, or do something where you make some money. Winning is the only way. It's the best way to live if you're being in a competitive game, because losing sucks. Horrible to wake up the next morning and you lost, isn't it? It's horrible. I didn't like that feeling at all. Have great character. Win the Big Ten was always our goal every year, no matter what our age was, no matter if we were young or old, was always to win the Big Ten. Individual goals. I like for my players to have individual goals for themselves so they can improve. Win 20 games. You know, back when I first started coaching, if you won 20 games, it's a pretty good sign you had a successful season. But now anymore, we play so many games, it's almost like you got to win, 28 games before you're successful, right? Or 30. So that kind of changed that goal. In high school, win the state. Sometimes you got kids that it's just good enough to go to state, probably you're not going to win it. So you got to try to make them understand you have a goal to win it. And then play up to your potential. Play up to your potential. You've got to figure that out as a coach, how we can motivate these people to get them to play up to their potential, because each person has a lot of different areas of strengths and weaknesses. We got to work on their weaknesses and improve their strengths. And that becomes up to you as a coach to figure that out with your staff. So I would go to all these Nike clinics around the country, Seattle and wherever, Omaha and Pittsburgh, and give these Nike clinics. And one question I always got from all the coaches after was, how come your kids play so hard, coach? And I always thought that was kind of a funny question. I thought that's what you're supposed to do, was to play hard. So when I came home one time from Seattle, I wrote down 4 things I thought that maybe the reason we might play harder than some teams. Not sure it's true or not, but here's the reason I think we might have been able to play harder than some teams. We had a lot of one-on-one meetings. I would bring in the players a lot one-on-one and talk about their roles. This is your role. Or what's happening, with this class. Why aren't you going to class? There's always funny too, because we got guys 6'8", 6'9", 230, and they didn't go to class, and we'd say, how come you go to class? Oh, I went to class. I was there. So wait a minute, Jimbo. You're 6'9", 240 or whatever you are. They know whether you're in class or not. You don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that. So we did have a lot of one-on-one meetings, individual meetings. In the weight room, we did that. Running, we did that. They had special mile times and so on. They had to reach in order to be able to get a suit and so on. So they had to understand those things before we started. Second thing is, I thought the reason we played hard was we were honest with them. What we said is what's going to happen. They knew what we said was going to be the truth. Telling guys stuff that's not true, or telling this player, talking to this player about that player is wrong to this player. You can't go talking to another player about this player. That's wrong. You can't. That's bad coaching. I had an assistant that did that tremendously, and then he wondered why they were all screwed up. You can't be talking about players to each other. They're not the coaches. We're the coaches. We talk to each other about them and then go teach them how to play right. Not very complicated. Third thing in playing hard is be demanding. You got to be very demanding. And if their parents hasn't taught them about life, about being demanding, you got a tough chore for a while till they start buying into the system. And you go someplace and win when you're not supposed to, or you have a really good season you weren't supposed to, then they start buying into the system, and you can be more demanding each time, and it becomes fun. And then last, be positive. Be positive, be positive. Because if you are negative, every negative comment will get a negative result. There's no room for negativism. I don't care who it is, the players, the coaches, cheerleaders, pep band. We don't need any negative comments, and that's why I had trouble with the media sometimes. So kind of wrap this up here in this first, I'm going to leave this little time here for some questions if you have any. Break, right, or get the next speaker. Primarily, I want to talk about it's going to be a talk to our first squad meeting. I'm not going to go detail on like it, but I'm going to give you some ideas. In our first squad meeting when we came to school in September. Primarily, we talked about what they could expect from us and what we expect from them. We're kind of making a road map out here. What you expect from us, what we expect from you. Be a good person, a good student, a good athlete, be on time, go to class every day, and try your best. That's not very complicated. Be on time, go to class every day, and try your best. It's amazing if our athletes would follow those three things, go to class every day, be on time, and try your best. They were usually graduated on time, won a Big Ten title, and had fun. They got better. For example, we expect them to get an education, do everything they can to graduate, to help us win as many games as possible, and to bring credit to the university and themselves, whether by their actions on or off the court. So we're looking for character, you're looking to win, and you're looking to graduate. It's not very complicated. If they're there for any other purpose, then they best find another school, another sport, because we're going to have a conflict down the line, as you probably all know. I think the most important thing any team can do is eliminate problems before they happen. My dad quit school in the 8th grade in order to send his brother to college, but he was a pretty smart guy about common sense. When he'd hear me kind of griping at school when I was in school, and I'm going to use a word here I hope you don't become offended with, he says, don't bitch, transfer. If you don't like where you are, go on, move. Why be unhappy? And we know coaches don't want that, though, do we? Because if they trust you enough, they'll probably come in and talk to you about whatever's bugging them. And you got that going, then you got something going as far as communication, because communication is everything. So we also go over our goals for the year, realistic goals. We want a commitment from them. They're going to practice hard, whether they're the first or second team. They're going to be an asset to the team on the court, on and off. We have to know where they're going. In other words, there's no sense in us whipping a dead horse. They don't want to win, they don't want to get an education, then we're just sort of kidding ourselves. And put a square, I learned took me about 20 years, but you can't get square peg in a round hole. Took me probably 25 years to figure out, and this was something, it took me a long time to figure this out, that it wasn't, I figured out finally it wasn't always my fault we lost. Because I'd end up, blaming myself for the loss. Sometimes it might have been the player's fault, but I was always blaming myself. Well, we should have stayed man-to-man longer. We should have run this out of players. We should have done this against the zone offense. And I'm blaming myself for all these things, and then you may have a better chance of living yourself a little better, enjoying the coaching better, if you figure out that's just the way it is. Move on. Quit beating the dead horse. We talk about seniors setting the tempo. Team things always supersede individual things. It's always about team. We'll never find a good team in any form of athletics unless the seniors are playing the best of their career. If you got your seniors playing the best of their career, you're going to win the league probably. We talk about appearance and responsibility we have to the people in our community to reflect the type of image other people would wish to emulate. We talk about communicating. I think that's so important. You can't get anything done in the world without them talking to me and me talking to them. So that was fun for me to be able to communicate with them and see them grow and become better and successful. Talk about postseason tournaments. Then you expect to go to a postseason tournament. That's what you expected us being demanding. That's how good we want to become. We talk about the media and dealing with them. We talk about the role the freshmen will play. We always told freshmen when we recruited them, and it probably hurt me in recruiting, was probably as a freshman you're not going to play a lot, but if you get in some, you're going to be able to learn from it. Sophomore year, you probably better be playing over half the games. And your junior year, you better be starting and being very successful. In your senior year, you better be all league. That's kind of the stair-step thing we had as far as success. Unless you were Glenn Robinson, then we expect you to step in right away and score 30. But that's kind of the progress we did back when before everybody thought their kids were NBA players. What changes we have to make in ourselves, the basketball team, in order to win? We want to sort of lay out the roadmap where we're going, how we're going to get there, and who we're going to get there with. So those are kind of some of the things we talked about. 6 things. I'm going to stop here. So these are the 6 things that I tried to incorporate every practice. Great conditioning. Always worried about, not worried, but worked on conditioning through preseason running and then drills where you're doing them during the getting in shape, and they're running so hard they don't even know they're getting in shape. Kind of you trick them into fast break drills, defensive drills, so on. You get them to get in shape. Master the fundamentals. Most important fundamental in basketball is passing. Don't ever forget that. Passing. My wife would say, well, what about scoring? And shut up. Sit in the back of the room. Having great team spirit is something we always worked hard at. A flexible offense was 4th. A flexible offense, something where everybody had a chance to score. And then a pressure defense, whether it's man-to-man, zone, full court pressure. There's always pressure on the ball, defense. If you don't get pressure on the ball, you're going to get picked apart. And then fast break with smartness. Because when you take a job, you want to tell the media that we're going to fast break and press a lot. They always like to see that in the paper. That means you're going to be up-tempo, and they love to see that. And then when you get them, you're going to fast break, but it's only part of your system. You got to get easy baskets, so you got to fast break. You got to get the ball up the floor quickly, and we're going to work on that here in another hour or so, and hopefully have some fun with that. Okay, questions?
I get the good fortune of going to a lot of different high school games over the course of time, and I think we brought we have a couple girls from Highland High School in Ohio who I watched their team play, and without a doubt they ran Princeton offense better than any team I've ever seen. And we had a coach come out here and share. And this past year I had the good fortune to attend a game in Bowling Green High School, and it's one of those old gyms. It's kind of like old Indiana games used to be, at sectional time. It was just, I had to get there an hour early just so I could get a seat. I'm sitting behind a guy who's crazy, screaming at everybody. I mean, he had everybody's name down, he was screaming. And then I was right next to another person who was a relative of the person he was screaming at, and I was right in the midst of stuff. And it lasted all the game. And they were playing Ben Roethlisberger's sister's team in Finland. And she's a pretty good player. She's going to Oklahoma. And I was watching their team play. I'd seen their team on film, and it just struck me that this young coach was one of those guys that was really enthusiastic about what he did. And he came into a community where they didn't have a history of success in girls basketball, and in relatively a short period of time, they're now playing for a championship. And come to know that he's a history guy, and in fact, he said this week I called him. This is the kind of guy he says, well, I want to make sure I give the right credit. This stuff comes from Dean Smith back when he was at Kansas. So I mean, he's done his research. He's figured out where he's stolen the stuff from. We've all stolen stuff. So I'm looking forward to hearing Justin Zemanski.
Obviously, I'm pretty young, girls varsity coach, and it just seems kind of surreal that Coach Raymond asked me to speak here today. I'm speaking after Keady. It's just an unbelievable pleasure.
Switches on the, okay, here we go. So then I get a chance to work with a team like Indiana Wesleyan team, went 38-0 and won a national championship last year. So again, thank you to Coach Keady, Coach Freeman, the whole Valpo staff, Coach Brooks. But basically I'm here to talk about the run and jump defense. When I first came onto the scene as a varsity girls coach, I kind of looked and saw what do winning programs do? What is it that I can do with my girls that will help us get to that championship level? And it seemed that a common thread when I coached in Hampton, Virginia, at Bethel High School, where Allen Everson went, and where I am at now, it was like Northview, that Brooke Amstutz played for. They ran this defense. They pressured you, they necessarily steal the ball from you every time. They forced you to make mistakes. They took you out of your game. So I did my research, and I implemented this defense. We've had a lot of success with it. Again, this goes back to Coach Smith when he was at Kansas. Larry Brown used it. Roy Williams used it. If you remember watching the 2003 NCAA final when Kansas was getting beat by Syracuse, they ran this to get back into the game, and they did so. And early ended up losing by 3. So again, why do we run this defense? Whenever I coach against a team that ran this, I hated to prepare for it. Why? This is a defense you just can't put out there and say, okay, Springfield runs a run and jump, go ahead and do it. You go here, whereas the team runs a diamond, 2-2-1, 1-2-2, whatever, we can pretty close to simulate that defense. This, you cannot unless you run it yourself. It's very difficult to prepare for it. It takes people out of what they want to do. You're dribbling, and you got great ball pressure on you, and all of a sudden somebody jumps you, or you get trapped. How do you respond? Okay, so again, it's good at taking the ball out of the other team's best players' hands. I wish we could have done it a little bit better to Carly Roethlisberger in the years past. But again, a lot of this stuff also came from Coach Eddie Andrews. I want to give him a lot of credit. He's at the University of Wisconsin-Stout, which is a Division III school. So again, it's a man-to-man press. It's not a zone. It's man-to-man. And what I like is that we're a big man-to-man team. You can transition back into a half-court man-to-man defense. It's not like a zone going back to a half-court man, which is difficult to transition into. This is easier. It forces the opponent to make mistakes. It forces them to do stuff they don't want to do. It allows me to use more depth, and it forces the other team to use more depth. Okay? And I think it creates a better half-court defensive team. When you're always having to see the ball, because you should be jumping, you should be trapping, it creates better half-court defense. And once we get the hang of it, we can break down. This is defense you have to work on almost every day. But when you do it correctly, you can do all these drills I'm going to show you today in probably 20 to 30 minutes. So basically my goal is to have you leave here today and want to run this, and I'm going to try to make it as applicable as possible. And also I think that once players buy into it, players are usually a little bit hesitant at first about leaving their player in defense. To go jump somebody else, trap somebody else. Once they do it, they find success. They are sold, and they'll do it. They oftentimes do it when they shouldn't do it, but I'd rather be too aggressive than not aggressive enough. So I'm basically going to go through all the full court signals for you. Again, we
choose not to call out plays, we use hand signals. We use them at dead balls and at foul shots. We like to huddle our girls up, foul shooting situations. I actually have my assistant use all the signals. I've found that using your assistants, like Coach Keady said, you always use your assistants and using them, and I let mine call this defense. And granted, we, of course, exchange input throughout the game, but he does a great job with it, and it's right here. So, girls, have please have a 1-2-2 press breaker. Let's have a 3, take it out, 1 and 2 at the elbows, 4 and 5 at half court. This is the press breaker you typically see most often. Defense, go ahead and match up to them, please. This is what we call white. White. Okay, who's on offense? Red's on offense. Okay, first of all, we got to have great pressure on the basketball. Okay? We're putting all kinds of heat on this ball. Whoever is guarding these two guards, they're probably going to exchange, screen for each other, roll back. We are switching this. Okay? We are not going to deny them the basketball. Okay? And our post players, what's also nice about this defense is that the post players are not jumping. They are not trapping, and we always have 2 people back. So again, when this defense was first originally used with Coach Smith at Kansas, it was only a half court. I don't feel all that comfortable trapping closer to my baskets. We do our trapping, our running and jumping in a full court. You guys are in a side front position, okay? Unless we're in black, which we're going to talk about later, we do want the offense to catch the ball in front of us. We cannot jump them or trap them. They catch it behind us and they're shooting layups. So in white, go ahead. Switch, screen, get open, get the ball. Okay? She's got it. Okay? We have great pressure on the ball. The first principle, we always have to be below the ball. Okay? So you want to be below the ball. Why? Because if she starts dribbling this way, you can't jump her if you're above the ball. You're in great shape right here. Okay? If you're 2 passes away, you're on the other side of the court, you are below the ball, but you're also in good help position because what a lot of teams will probably try to do is send somebody through the middle. Okay? You are below the ball, but you're almost in the middle of the court. Now, great. You jump at the right time. When a player, the second rule, second principle, she has the ball. Okay? You're guarding her, you're in good help position. On the second dribble, you should be there. Okay? You should see her coming, Brooke. When that happens, you see we're going to rotate. Now, if you want to run a more conservative form of this press, you would just rotate to her girl, and you would still have her. Okay? What we like to do is we like to be a little bit more aggressive. What's going to happen is that you're kind of sniffing out this middle area. We jump, and now you're just going to move over and pick up this girl, and Brooke, you're going to rotate over. That rotation is a little bit tougher to get the hang of, but once the girls do it, it works very well. Okay? And you are in a great position because when his jump happens, most likely she's going to pick up her dribble, or she's going to throw an errant pass, and you're right here. Okay? And again, if they send a post player flashing up, that's fine. Okay? We have all of our post players do all the breakdown drills as well. We know exactly what's happening. A lot of times teams will flash these players up. That's great. You're a post player, and you can defend her in the full court. This is a man-to-man press. So basically in white, we are basically doing just for run and jump movement. Okay? We ran and jumped. Okay, we jumped. Brooke, you ran. You rotated over. Brooke, after she came, you're rotating over here. Okay? And again, the jump should be good enough to protect against the pass from over here. But again, you're not sleeping back here. Okay? If there's an errant pass that comes over, you can't pursue this. Okay? We never jump up the sidelines. Let's say the ball, you go sideline with it. If you leave, if she beats her girl off the sideline, if you leave the jump, that's a layup. That rotation, it'd be nice if it could happen, it doesn't. Okay? It's just too far of a distance. Okay? So we never ever jump the sideline. We will trap the sideline, and that's our blue call. Okay? So what we just did was white. Okay? Let's go ahead and step back up. This is blue. And again, we never call these out. It's all based on hand signals. So in blue, just make sure I get it. I'll forget anything. Also, in this defense, you cannot worry about getting beat. You either jump or you don't. If you hesitate, it's going to lead to layup. You have to play fearlessly. That's one thing that we stress, is playing without fear. If you get beat, so what? We got two people back at all times. If they go 1-4, you know, that's fine as well. Just make them catch the ball in front of you. Okay? Here is blue. Guards, go ahead. Screen, split. In blue, we want to trap the sideline. Okay? We want to trap the sideline. So Brooke, what you're going to do is you're going to get on the high side and basically just invite her to the sideline. Okay, so go ahead and take off for the sideline. Now, you are not coming yet. You are below the ball. Okay, you are below the ball. It is Brooke's job. Now, Brooke, you had great. Okay, you invite her to the sideline. Now, after she takes off, do you want to ride her all the way up the sideline? What's probably going to happen on a call foul? What you want to do is eventually beat her to a spot. The best place to trap is obviously where? Just past half court. That's the ideal spot. We'll even do a blue trap in the corner. Okay? So what you eventually want to do is just beat her to a spot. You are below the ball. You're seeing all this happen. As soon as Brooke gets her turn, what we want to happen is for her to dribble Brooke and then turn back middle, and boom, there you are. You rotate it over, you have this, and we're in a great, great position. Okay? So basically, with our blue trap, okay, we are forcing sideline. We are giving you space as you come up the sideline so that you have room to sprint. Her dribbling, you without the ball, you should be able to beat her to a spot. Okay? Do you have to have great athletes to run this? No. Does it help? Yes. And I'm fortunate right now that at the high school level I have tall, quick girls, but we will run this defense probably forever. Okay? Good. So again, you're just kind of sniffing out the middle. We got our third defender right here. They should be in a very vulnerable spot. Okay? Now, Brooke, we have two people right here. What if the pass gets through? Okay, what if they're able to do that? Who should rotate back to the middle? You who has your back turned, or you that can still see the court. You're going to rotate over. Okay? You have this back. You're helping her. I know it seems like a long rotation, but if it's a good trap, the pass will not make it over here. So we should hopefully be getting a steal for a layup. And get it right back into it and cause another turnover. Okay? Let's start the same thing. Down here. This is called red. A lot of you are probably saying, well, you know what? Some team runs this kind of goofy man-to-man press. I'm just going to clear them out. Okay? This is what red is. Red. Okay? Go ahead, split, get open, do what you got to do. Pass comes in. We are trapping the first pass. Just like a diamond press. We want to force this girl, probably their best ball handler, to give up the ball. Okay? Again, when this happens, you are sniffing out the middle. Okay? If you get a steal it, lay up, let's get right back into it. Okay? If you can't, that's fine. Just keep this girl in front. Now again, when this trap happens, who do we want to rotate back over? You, with your head turned, you. Okay? So again, Brooke will head the middle. Go ahead and rotate back over. And again, always below the ball. Now, when you rotate back over, if the ball's right there, so take that back, you're going to be right here in the middle. Okay? There's a lot of help going on with this defense. Okay? And again, you guys, our floor girl right now, who's going to be one heck of a player. She is one heck of a player. She had 75 steals last year in this press. And I don't know if, but 5 of them were probably on the ball. So again, as people start flashing up, they're probably going to try to beat this with lob passes. Okay? And that's where you guys come in, get a steal, pass it up, and we're in business. Do you have to steal to have success in this press? No, you do not. You can just wear down your opponent. The sectional championship game last year, I think we only caused 8 turnovers, but we just wore people down. We wore that team down. By the fourth quarter, a team that was pretty even with us, we ended up winning. So anyways, in red, after the initial trap, we go into blue. Everything goes into blue, looking for that sideline trap after the initial trap right here. okay? So we're always telling you, and what's great about this, you run white to start maybe, kids are getting jumped in the middle. Every time they drive to the middle, they're getting jumped, so they say, okay, we'll go to the sideline. But they go to the sideline, and then they get trapped. Pretty soon, you know, if you run it right, they're giving their coach the look, you know, what do we do now? And, you know, that can't happen. Let's set this back up, please. This is called black. And again, we run this, we mix up our calls just to show different looks, as I'm sure all of us probably do when we press. And black is very simple. It is a full out denial. We're trying to get a 5-second call. The team least expects it. We're just going to flat out deny. Okay? We're face guarding. So if they switch, if they exchange, they screen, you switch it, great pressure on the ball, she flashes up, don't let her get it without getting beat. If we don't want to do that. And again, we're just trying to get a 5-second call. All right? What if, who's probably the best ball indoor? Or, okay, did you probably run the point? Okay, set this back up. Sometimes we'll go black, and we'll call out a girl's number. We'll go black 13. Or we'll use a signal, and we'll say 13. That means you just come off the ball, and we're just going to double. And we're not going to let her get it in. Okay? We'll make somebody else bring her up the court. So, that is black, and I'm sure all you know, getting a 5-second call is like drawing a charge. It's a huge boost of a momentum for your team, and it's a great way to mix things up. So, with that, those are the 4 basic calls. We're going to throw in one at the end. Here's the drill to implement this press. Can I please have 2 lines on the lane starting on the baseline? Okay. First 2 girls come on out, facing the basket. Right, start right here about on the block. Okay. This is called dig, catch up. This is a great drill just to get players loose. You get them in that running jump mode. Dig, catch up simply means on the whistle, they're going to get their feet chopping, get loose. Then they're going to get 2 digs, 2 good, hard, solid defensive slides, and they're going to catch up, which is the same thing they do in the running jump, okay? They're guarding their girl, good, hard pressure defense. She dribbles for the second time. That player should have come. Now she rotates down. So dig, catch up. First whistle, we get them chopping. Second time, 2 good defensive slides. Catch up. When you get to the catch up point, it's almost like we're getting ready to trap somebody. Okay? So we get our 2 defensive slides. We're going to run to this spot. You don't have to slide your feet. You can just flat out run. We're going to get in a good trapping position. Arms wide, knees bent, back straight. Okay? So again, I hate to whistle at you guys. That's the only way I know how to do it. Okay? So now, when they take off, you 2 come on, you start chopping. And so far, and so on and so forth. Here we go. Good. My fault. You guys want to go here, halfway up the sideline, then the half court, okay? So you guys are going to keep doing this down the entire court, okay? That was my fault, okay? So go ahead, you guys just go ahead and no, that's fine. We'll just have the next 2 come up. That was my fault, okay? So you are going to go down the whole court, okay? Going halfway down the sideline, half court, 3/4 court, and down there. Okay? Here we go. Okay, that's good. Thank you very much, girls. Great job. Dig, and catch up. Next one. 2-on-2, run and jump. This is how we're going to initially teach the run and jump situation. Okay? We need, let's have one line over here. This line right here, please come over to this sideline. You guys are right here. First girl defense, second girl offense. Sit here, first girl defense, second girl on offense. Okay? You're going to bring the ball in bounds. Okay? Thank you. So we're going to have great pressure on the basketball right here. Am I not used to wearing these things. Here we go. Okay, actually, you don't need to worry about passing the ball in bounds. Okay, you're just going to have it. Okay, we're just working on this. Now, again, the rule is you have good help side position right here. By the time she gets to her second dribble, you're jumping. Okay, once you see her coming to jump, you simply rotate down. Okay, once the ball gets to you, stop. Okay, we're working on right now our defense, getting the run and jump rotation down. Okay, let's just go about 50% speed. Okay, good solid pressure right here. Okay, by the second dribble, you're there. Just go ahead, pick up your dribble and give her a nice bounce pass. Okay, here we go. Good. Now you're going to rotate down. Perfect, perfect. Now, in this drill, you're going to hold the ball, allow them to get ahead of you. Okay, so you guys come on up then. Okay. We'll come up just a little bit more. Then you give 2 hard dribbles. You're there. Good. Rotate down. Freeze it. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Stay a little bit wider. Okay. Perfect. All right. We got to have great pressure on the basketball. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. So that's basically 2-on-2. Let's start over. Let's go about 60, 70% speed. Okay, here we go. Good, rotate, good. Okay, freeze. Let them catch up. All right, go ahead. Seeing it? Good, good, good. Here she comes. Jumper. Good. Good. Good, good. Okay, great job, girls. Great job. Fantastic. Okay, so that is 2-on-2 run and jump. Okay, next drill. This is, I just need, actually let's get some fresh people out here, give some other people a chance to participate. Okay, what we're going to do now, basically a one-on-one tip drill. In this defense, if you are ever beat down the court, you jump, the girl gets by you, a positive thing can still happen. Too often people give up on a play. If you can get a tip from behind, and flip the ball to one of your teammates or to somebody else, who's going to be the first person to get the pass back for a layup? Probably the person that tipped it. So we really do encourage players trying to get tips from behind. So this is exactly what this drill is going to do. So with that, we're going to have you guys start. Actually, let's move this line down here. You guys are going to start in the baseline. We only need one player in this line, okay? She's going to be on offense. Actually, you guys can be on offense, I'm sorry. You're right here. You have the ball, okay? Actually, started about right here, okay? We're used to having volleyball lines on the high school court. Real simple, on the whistle, you're trying to pursue her, okay? Do you think that's a good matchup? Yeah, I can do it, okay? So you're trying to get a foot from behind. So actually, why don't you start a little bit closer to the baseline? Kind of know how quick your players are, but simply on the whistle, you're going coast to coast for a layup. It's also a good offensive drill because your players are concentrating or working on how to finish when they have heat on them. Now, with you pursuing her, and she's dribbling up the right side of the court, she's probably going to be using one hand to dribble her right. So you want to tip it or flip it with what hand? Your left, okay? So exactly, if you're trying to get a left-handed flip, you just basically try to get it before she gets to a layup, okay? We also have another coach on the opposite side of the court running the same thing coming back this way. Again, just real simple. Offense trying to finish with somebody on you, defense trying to get a flip, okay? So on the whistle, actually, why don't you go ahead and start so that you have a little bit of a better angle. More this way. There you go. Okay, here we go. Good, good, good. Way to finish, way to finish. Okay? So we just keep doing that. As soon as they got to the basket, the next group would go. We would switch offense to defense and bring it back down that side. Okay? That is one-on-one tip. Next one, 2-on-1 sideline trap drill. This is basically working on our blue trap. Okay? We need one girl that's not going to play in this just to be the inbounder. Okay? The only thing you're going to do is sorting. Go ahead. Let's give her the ball right here. Okay? We need a girl to defend her, preferably in the red. Actually, that doesn't matter. Yeah, you know what you're on defense. We need an offense and a defensive player right here. Okay, who's on O? Okay. Real simple. We're going to allow her to catch the basketball. Okay? So go ahead. We have great pressure on the ball. All right? But the pass does get through. Go ahead. Now, just like in blue, Brooke is going to play her on the high side. We're going to invite the sideline. If she has the ball and you don't, you should be able to beat her to the spot. Now, again, you don't want to ride her all the way up the sideline. We want to give her some space, beat her to a spot. Now, as soon as the pass went here, you always want to be where? Below the ball. So as soon as that happens, you are sprinting to get below the ball. You are sniffing out, waiting for Brooke to beat her to a spot and get her turn. And then boom, you're coming from the side with the trap. Okay? As soon as the trap happens, just go ahead and freeze. Again, the trap can happen here, it can happen in the corner, but the best place, of course, is just over half court so we get the third defender. Okay? Here we go. Again, hold up. Make sure, again, as I already said, that you're giving her space. Okay, and she comes up the sideline. Here we go. Here it comes, here it comes. Get her to a spot. Trap, right there. Okay, good, good. You might want to be just a little bit closer so when she picks up that dribble, boom, you're there right there. Good job for the first time. Okay? Let's get 3 new people out. Keep the same passer, that's fine. Same inbounder. Okay, here we go. Again, play that high side. Good, good. Get there, get there. Good, perfect, perfect. Over and back, nice job, okay? All right, great job defense, great job, okay? So that is 2-on-1 sideline trap. And this is a drill we really only run when we know that we're going to be calling blue a lot, okay? This is not something that you have to run every day. Okay, next drill. Give me 3 lines along the baseline, please. First girl step out on defense. Second girl is on offense. Ball's in the middle. There is no dribbling in this drill. No dribbling, only passing. Okay? We're just working on where you should be as the ball is coming up the court. This is called 3-on-3 positioning. Okay, so the ball's right here. Brooke, of course, has great pressure on the ball. You guys go ahead and step out. Okay, you're just like wings in any press breaker situation. Okay? Pass comes here. There, we got great pressure. Brooke has to get below the ball. So you're going to drop about 2 more feet right here, and you're a little bit more in the center of the court. Okay? Almost dead center. Okay? So right now, we're in great position. She dribbles middle, we can jump her. She goes sideline, we can trap her, depending on what call we're in. Okay? And then you are in great position to stop the cutter from coming through. We also call this a passing drill. We work on chest passes, over the head passes, bounce passes, whatever. Defense, do not steal the pass. Just work on being in good position. Okay? Let's work it all the way up the court. Hold the ball for a second or two when you catch it. Make sure the defense is where they should be. And then we'll go from there. Okay? Good, good, good. Pressure. Good, good. Pressure the ball. Good. Pressure. Good. Get below the ball in the middle. Perfect, perfect. Great job, okay? Great job. So that is 3-on-3 positioning. Yes?
Let's say you don't call it, you call it fine. You're not going to trap down the side.
We are not going to trap.
What can you do when they go down the side?
Well, when they go down the sideline, great question. We're just going to zigzag. Okay, we're just going to try to get them turned. We are not going to leave. Now, what's going to happen is that once your players get the hang of this, you might see a blue trap, and you didn't expect it, but players are going to start to learn and understand the defense better. And granted, you don't want them doing their own thing all the time, but if they see an opportunity, we could give them the green light.
What you're saying is that the girls run every day on the she'll try to catch
Still trying to veer to a spot. Yeah, still trying to veer to a spot, but instead of the trap coming, we're just going to force your middle, and we'll jump in the middle. Okay? Yeah.
When does the person need to take off? After the girl gets dribbling, puts the ball up, or do you have her leave as soon as the trap person comes?
That's something that just comes from running the drill. She has to just kind of sense. She has to be there when that girl turns back. When we get her to pick up her dribble and she turns back, that's when that trap should be there.
How about up here on the open court?
On the open court.
Yeah, when you're in your other one, it's not across the 10-second line. In other words, the girl's running at the girl dribbling.
Yeah.
The original girl, you want her staying with that person with pressure until she picks the ball up?
She rotates down as soon as she sees that girl is coming. She knows that girl is going to be there on the second dribble. So when she sees that ball goes down. And the best time to jump somebody when they have the ball is when? We have good solid pressure defense on somebody. They're going to have their head down probably while they're trying to get past you. That's why we have the 2 dribble rule. Because when they have good pressure, that first or second dribble, they're probably going to be having their head down, trying to go as hard and fast as they can. That's when a surprise element's going to happen. Okay? Dean Smith said this defense should not be called the run and jump, it should be called the run and surprise.